My God, what have I done? The year is 1905. I sit alone in this cramped apartment in Bern, Switzerland. The calculations scattered across my desk mark me with their terrifying implications. For months I wrestled with this demon of an equation, but now I see it clearly and I'm shaking. Time stops, not metaphorically, not philosophically, literally. At the speed of light, time itself ceases to exist. And I am the one who discovered this monstrosity. Let me tell you how this nightmare began. How one simple question led me to shatter everything humanity believed about reality. I was asking myself what seemed like an innocent thought experiment. What would happen if you could run alongside a beam of light? What would you see? Common sense said you'd see light standing still, like catching up with a friend on the street. If light travels at 300 million meters per second, and you run at 300 million meters per second in the same direction, then relative to you, the light shouldn't be moving at all. You should see frozen electromagnetic waves hanging in space. But Maxwell's equations said otherwise. Those beautiful, elegant equations describing electricity and magnetism insisted that light must travel at this specific speed, always, no matter what. The equations didn't care if you were moving or standing still. Light travels at 299,790,488 meters per second, period. So here was my dilemma. Either Maxwell was wrong about light, or Newton was wrong about space and time. One of these giants had to fall. I chose Newton. The mathematics forced my hand. If light must always travel at the same speed regardless of who measures it, then something else had to give. Distance and time themselves had to be flexible, malleable, changeable. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you're on a train moving at half the speed of light. You turn on a flashlight pointing forward. Common sense says the light should travel at light speed plus train speed, but experiments showed it doesn't. The light still travels at exactly light speed, no faster. How is that possible? Because time slows down for you on the train. Your clocks tick slower. Your biological processes run slower. Everything about your experience of time stretches out like taffy, and simultaneously distances contract. The space in front of you compresses. These effects are exactly the right amount to make light appear to travel at the same speed from your perspective. Time dilation and length contraction conspire to preserve the cosmic speed limit. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. As you approach the speed of light, the time dilation becomes extreme. At 90% light speed, time moves 3 times slower for you. At 99%, it's 7 times slower. At 99.92, 90% it's 22 times slower. And at exactly light speed, time stops completely. I remember the moment I first saw this in the equations. My pencil froze in my hand. Fire in the hearth seemed to pause mid-flicker, because if this was true, and the mathematics insisted it was, then reality was far stranger than anyone had ever imagined. A photon of light experiences no time. From the photon's perspective, it's created and absorbed in the same instant. A photon emitted by a star and absorbed by your eye 8 minutes later. From the photon's viewpoint, no time passes at all. The journey is instantaneous. This broke my understanding of existence itself. How can something travel 150 million kilometers, yet experience zero time? How can the universe work this way? But the experiments kept confirming it. Muons created in the upper atmosphere by cosmic rays should decay before reaching Earth's surface. Their lifetimes are too short, yet they reach the ground in abundance. Why? Because they're moving at near light speed. Time slows down for them dramatically. What should be microseconds of flight time becomes milliseconds, just enough to reach the surface. GPS satellites experience this every day. They all but at high speeds and in weak gravity, so time runs differently for them than for us on the ground. Without correcting for these relativistic effects, GPS would be off by miles. The universe is structured to prevent anything with mass from reaching light speed, As objects accelerate, they gain relativistic mass. The faster they go, the more energy required to go even faster. To reach light speed would require infinite energy, which is impossible. Only massless particles like photons can travel at light speed. They have no choice, they must travel at exactly that speed. They cannot slow down or speed up. They exist in a timeless realm, experiencing the entire universe as a single, eternal moment. But here's what haunts me most. If time stops at light speed, what does that mean for space? Remember, space and time aren't separate. They're woven together into space-time. When time stops, space becomes meaningless too. From a photon's perspective, the entire universe contracts to zero thickness in the direction of motion. The 150 million kilometers between Sun and Earth shrinks to nothing. Every distance shrinks to zero. The photon experiences all of space as a single point. This is why nothing can go faster than light. It's not really a speed limit. It's the rate at which cause and effect propagate through space-time. It's the conversion factor between space and time. Light speed is the speed of space-time itself. Imagine space-time as a fabric. Any information can only travel through this fabric at one maximum rate. That's light speed. It's not that light is special. It's that massless particles are forced to travel at the maximum rate space-time allows. The implications terrify me. They should terrify you too. If time and space are relative, then simultaneity is an illusion. Events that seem to happen at the same time depend entirely on your frame of reference. There is no universal now spanning the cosmos. The present moment is different for every observer. Your reality is not my reality. The order of events can change depending on how fast you're moving. Past and future become negotiable concepts. I discovered that the universe has no absolute reference frame, no preferred viewpoint, no cosmic perspective from which to judge what's really happening. Every observer experiences their own slice of space-time, their own version of when things occur, and at light speed, the very concepts of space and time break down entirely. Distance becomes meaningless. Duration becomes meaningless. The normal structure of reality simply stops. This equation, E=qd, that made me famous, it's a footnote compared to what I really discovered. I found that time itself is not what we thought it was. Time is not a river flowing at constant rate. Time is a dimension woven with space that can stretch and compress and even halt entirely. I opened a door to a universe where the fundamental nature of existence depends on motion, where reality itself is relative, where the speed of light represents the maximum rate at which reality can unfold. Sometimes I lie awake wondering what else is relative that we assume is absolute. What other foundations of reality are built on shifting sand? The mathematical beauty is undeniable. The experimental confirmation is overwhelming. But emotionally, philosophically, this knowledge feels like a burden. I gave humanity a glimpse behind the cosmic curtain, and what we found there was far stranger than we ever imagined. Time stops at light speed, not as poetry, not as metaphor, as physics. And once you understand this, truly understand it, you can never look at the universe the same way again. Every tick of your clock, every step you take, every moment you experience is negotiated by the cosmic constant that governs how space and time relate to each other. We live in a universe where time itself can end, where space can shrink to nothing, where the very stage upon which reality performs its drama is fluid, changeable, breakable. This is what I discovered in that small apartment in Bern. This is the secret that the universe whispered to me through mathematics. And now I've whispered it to you. What terrifies you more? That I might be wrong, or that I might be right? But wait, there's not a thing I haven't told you yet. The equations don't just predict that time stops at light speed. They predict something far more disturbing. They suggest that faster-than-light travel isn't just impossible, it's nonsensical. If you could somehow exceed light speed, The mathematics says you'd experience negative time. You'd arrive at your destination before you left. Cause and effect would reverse. The logical structure of reality would collapse. This is why the universe protects light speed so jealously. It's not just a speed limit. It's the boundary between existence and paradox. Cross it, and the very notion of sequence, of causality, of rational order breaks down. Do you understand what this means? The speed of light isn't fast. The speed of light is the rate at which now propagates through the cosmos. It's the maximum speed at which any influence, any change, any information can spread from one point to another. When you flip a light switch, the electricity doesn't instantly reach the bulb. The electromagnetic signal propagates at light speed. When the sun suddenly disappeared, we wouldn't know for 8 minutes. That's how long it takes the information to reach us. Every moment of your life unfolds at exactly this rate. Your thoughts, your heartbeat, every chemical reaction in your body, all governed by this cosmic speed limit. You exist in a bubble of causality, expanding at light speed around you. I discovered that we don't just live in the universe, we live at the speed of the universe itself. And here's the final twist that keeps me awake at night. If light experiences no time, and space contracts to zero at light speed, then from light's perspective, the entire universe, all of space, all of time, exists as a single, timeless, dimensionless point. Everything that ever was, is, or will be, compressed into one eternal instant. Is this what God sees? Is this the view from outside time itself? I found the secret of time, and it revealed that time might be the grandest illusion of all. We think we move through time like fish through water, but perhaps time moves through us, and the cosmic speed limit is simply the rate at which existence unfolds. The universe whispered its deepest secret to me through mathematics. Time stops at light speed because light speed is the speed of existence itself. Now you know too, and there's no going back. But let me take you deeper into this rabbit hole, because what I discovered about time wasn't just academic, it was personal, visceral. It changed how I experience every moment of existence. Picture this. I'm sitting in that patent office in Bern, surrounded by the mundane machinery of bureaucracy, clocks ticking, papers shuffling, people moving about their daily business. And suddenly I realize none of these clocks are synchronized, not in any absolute sense. Time is running differently for each person depending on their motion. The man walking past my window experiences time slightly differently than I do sitting still. The difference is imperceptible at everyday speeds, but it's real, measurable. The universe doesn't have one master clock keeping everything in sync. It has billions upon billions of local timepieces, each ticking to its own rhythm. I began to see time dilation everywhere. In my morning coffee cooling down, the molecules slowing as temperature drops. In my wife Mileva's heartbeat as she sleeps, a biological time flowing in its own peaceful cadence. Even in the light streaming through my window, those photons experiencing no time at all as they journey from sun to earth, the mathematical formulas became alive, breathing things. The Lorentz transformation wasn't just an equation, it was the heartbeat of reality itself. Time equals gamma times proper time. Distance equals proper distance divided by gamma. Simple formulas that reshape existence. But here's what the textbooks don't tell you about discovering relativity. It's terrifying. When you first truly understand that time and space are malleable, you feel unmoored from reality. If these fundamental things can change, what can you trust? I remember one particular evening walking home from the office. The streetlights seemed different. I knew that the light leaving those lamps was experiencing no time, reaching my eyes in what it perceived as an instantaneous journey. Meanwhile, my footsteps were marking out my own personal timeline, different from everyone else's. The loneliness of this knowledge was crushing. How do you explain to your neighbor that the simple act of walking changes how time flows for you? How do you tell your children that simultaneity is an illusion? I started having dreams about light. Nightmares, really. I would imagine myself as a photon, experiencing all of space-time as a single eternal moment. Past, present, and future collapsed into one overwhelming instant. The birth of stars, the death of galaxies, every human thought that ever was or will be, all simultaneous from light's perspective. Wake up from such a dream, and ordinary life feels sluggish, constrained. We crawl through time like insects through honey, while light dances through the universe in eternal liberation from temporal flow. The speed of light became more than a number to me. It became the fundamental heartbeat of existence. 299.77 to 458 meters per second. Not just fast, but the maximum rate at which reality can propagate. The cosmic speed limit that prevents the universe from dissolving into paradox. And the strangest part, this speed limit emerges naturally from the structure of space-time itself. It's not imposed from outside. It's woven into the very fabric of existence. Space and time are related by this conversion factor. 1 second equals 299,797,458 meters of space. Always, everywhere, for everyone. This is why I call it the most beautiful equation in physics. Squared equals 1004 F woraus mine 7 pi. The speed of light squared equals 1 divided by the product of electric permittivity and magnetic permeability of free space. Two seemingly unrelated electrical constants combine to give the maximum speed of causality itself. Maxwell discovered this relationship decades before I was born, but he didn't understand its full implications. He thought he'd found the speed of light through the aether, that hypothetical medium filling all of space. But there is no aether. There's just space-time itself, and light speed is its fundamental property. When I realized this, sitting in my cramped apartment with calculations covering every surface, I felt dizzy. Not from fatigue, but from the sheer magnitude of what the universe had revealed to me. Time doesn't flow like a river, it flows like light itself, at exactly the speed that makes space-time coherent. Every love letter I wrote to Mileva was carried through space by electromagnetic waves, propagating at light speed. Every musical note from my violin traveled through the air as compression waves that could never exceed that cosmic limit. Every thought in my brain was electrochemical signals, obeying relativistic physics. I began to understand why God, if such exists, might be said to be light. Not metaphorically, but physically. Light exists outside time. Light experiences all of space as a single point. From light's perspective, the universe has no size and no duration. It simply is, eternal and immediate. Is this what mystics glimpse in their deepest meditations? This timeless perspective, where all of existence appears as one unified moment. But the implications kept getting stranger. If time slows down as you approach light speed, and mass increases requiring more and more energy to accelerate further, then light speed becomes an asymptotic wall. You can approach it forever but never reach it. It's like trying to climb out of a gravity well that gets steeper the higher you climb. The universe itself conspires to keep massive objects below light speed, not because of arbitrary rules, but because the structure of space-time makes faster than light travel geometrically impossible. I spent months working out what would happen if somehow, impossibly, you could exceed light speed. The mathematics became bizarre. Time would flow backwards. Effects would precede causes. You could deliver a message to your past self. The logical structure of reality would collapse. This is the universe's ultimate protection mechanism. Light speed isn't just a speed limit. It's the boundary between physics and paradox, between rational causality and logical chaos. The more I understood this, the more I marveled at how precisely tuned reality is. If light speed were infinite, causality would be instant. But energy would be unconstrained. Stars would explode. Atoms would fly apart. If it were much slower, communication and interaction across space would be impossibly sluggish. But it's exactly the right value to allow complexity, structure, life itself to emerge. Fast enough for electromagnetic forces to hold atoms together, slow enough for stable orbits and chemical reactions. The Goldilocks constant of existence. Late at night, when Bern was quiet and my calculations were done, I would stare out at the stars and think every photon reaching my eyes from those distant suns experienced its journey as instantaneous. The light from Polaris, traveling for 400 years to reach me, aged not one moment during its voyage. I was seeing the universe's own perspective, timeless, immediate, eternal. The night sky wasn't a view into the past. It was a window into the timeless realm where light exists. And then the final revelation hit me. If light experiences no time and we see by light, then in some deep sense consciousness itself might be connected to this timeless realm. When you see, you're interfacing directly with photons that exist outside temporal flow. Every moment of vision is contact with eternity. This thought kept me awake for weeks. Are we, in our deepest nature, temporal beings catching glimpses of the eternal? Is consciousness itself a bridge between time and timelessness? I discovered that time stops at light speed, but I wonder, did I discover something about the nature of mind itself? Something about how awareness relates to the fundamental structure of space-time? These are the questions that haunt me now. The mathematics is clear. The experiments confirm every prediction. But the philosophical implications stretch into realms I never expected to explore. What does it mean to exist in a universe where time itself can stop? Where the speed of light is the speed of existence unfolding? Where consciousness interfaces directly with timeless reality every moment it perceives? I gave humanity the equations, but I think the universe gave humanity something far more profound through those equations, a glimpse into its own deepest nature. Time stops at light speed because light speed is the heartbeat of reality itself. And now knowing this, how can any of us ever see time the same way again?